such an interesting one. But where this case is a little different from UEFA's is that there is an appeals process, but the appeal will just go back to another independent inquiry. And I don't know how many times you're allowed to appeal it, if I'm being honest. But the fact that this can't go to court, this can only happen via an independent hearing. Is that a bit of a concern in case, I'm not saying there's going to be brown envelopes, but let's just say the independent inquiry agrees with the Premier League and they find you guilty of, say, 80 of these 115 or so charges. Is there a concern that if there is a witch hunt, if there is a kind of directive to damage Man City, that even if you're innocent, you could still be seen they can still force through guilt? Is there concerns in the sort of City ranks and City fans of that happening?
No. I think, listen, I think if we're getting judged by the Premier League or judged by UEFA, for one, does anybody who's a football fan trust UEFA? After everything they've been through and the bribes and Platini and all them people, would you stand and put your hand on a Bible and say that UEFA is an honest organisation after everything we know about them? No. So why did City put it through CAS? Because they knew they had a better chance there, and for the exact reasons as you're saying. And the Premier League, right? Man City ain't trusting them either. Let's go to an independent commission and let's see it out. And I trust the commission. I don't believe in all this backhanders and bribing and all that. I don't. If you're guilty and you've done something wrong, you'll be found guilty. And if they're found guilty, that Manchester City as a club and the fans will take it on the chin. But what I'm saying is, all this nonsense at the minute, you're treating us like we are guilty, and we're not. And last time you treated us as we were guilty, you damaged the reputation. You said we cheated and all that, and we got found we didn't. And at the end of the day, nobody said out about it anymore. They all went, all right, and moved on. So it's the same old thing for us. We're taking it on the chin as a club. But I don't know the facts. You don't know the facts. Nobody else knows the facts. We just know we're speculating. So I get people what I call us cheats, because we've been the best team in England for the last 10 years. And we've been fucking levering everybody. And we've won the quadruple in our own country. That's never been done. We did the Formidables. We've done the Centurions. You know what I mean? We've won League Cups. We've won FA Cup. People don't like that. So they're all going to jump on it and try and kill us. But at the end of the day, you can say what you want on these shows. They can say what they want in the chat. It's not them or their decision. It's going to go to the committee and the evidence will be proved, and Manchester City will hopefully clear the name. End of story.
Yeah, listen, I think for me, like if I remove the banter for a minute and everything else, the way I feel about it is I do feel there's something not quite right. I've been very open about that. I'm not going to change my tunes. I'm sitting in front of you. The fact that Man City have more revenue than some of the biggest clubs in the world with fan bases that they clubs like Real Madrid and Man United sell 3 times as many shirts, as an example. So the fact that the commercial revenue in the last year or so has gone above that, there is something about it that don't sit right with me. And that isn't a dig.
You know what? Let me answer your question on that, yeah?
Go on.
West Ham United, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
They turn over more than AC Milan. Leicester City turn over more than AC Milan, right? So just because you don't like it, and just because it doesn't suit the narrative of these great clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, to think that Manchester City Football Club, right, who have won, 6 league titles, cups, got to the last 2 of the Champions League for the last decade, on and off. They own the City Football Group. They own 14 clubs around the world. They've got sponsorship deals all across the globe, everything coming into the club from everywhere. Just to think or be that shallow-minded to say that Man United sell more shirts than City and Real Madrid sell more than shirts than City, and that's all it's based on. It's not. But the most successful team in England over the last decade apparently isn't allowed to make any money. It's not allowed to earn prize money. It's not allowed to make money off transfers. It's not allowed to, look at the academy. Our academy is one of the best in the world. Look at all the sell-on clauses. Look at everything. Jadon Sancho, you bought, you had to pay us money. Pedro Porro just gone to Tottenham, they paid us money. Ivan Illich just gone to Verona, they paid us money. Gavin Bazzuno never kicked a ball, 16 million. Romeo Lavia, 16 million. Larius, 6 million. There's a list of players going on. So people can say that all they want. Oh, how can you turn over more than this? Well, Barcelona, for one, never had no shirts in their club shops for 4 months because they didn't pay the bill. Yeah. Real Madrid are having a big stadium development. So there's a lot of finances going offset everywhere there. But all this nonsense about Man City can't turn over more than Man United or Barcelona, well, I'm fine, you can. It can happen. And you can't make it up. Because how can West Ham turn over more than AC Milan? or Benfica.
So I get, well, one of the reasons they want to bring the Super League back, a lot of the European clubs, is because the Premier League is so powerful because of its TV deals that clubs like that you mentioned there, the West Hams, are now turning over more than European super clubs because of the TV rights money here.
And we get the most TV rights in the country now. Manchester City do. The last 5 years, we've got the most TV rights.
And I understand that you do. And I just think that the reason, for me on the outside looking in, because of these accusations, because of these leaked emails, because of all of this surrounding City, I just want to know that it's genuine. The reason I want to know it's genuine is because the accusation has been made. It's like anything. You never really think anything dodgy is going on.
Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought it's because it's a well-run club and because they've actually got owners that know what they're doing?
And that could be it. But then when the Premier League, and by the way, the Premier League is just 20 football clubs. But when the Premier League and many clubs within it are saying they feel there's something dodgy going on, and then there's 100...
They will do, Terry. They will do because it's jealousy from them all, innit? They will do.
And Steve, it could be, and it could be jealousy. But from my point of view, now that they've put this out into the ether, football fans in general want to know that it is genuine. I certainly want to know that it's genuine because...
Would you as a football fan, want an owner like Sheikh Mansour to come in your football club, improve the stadium, the training ground, every facility, the women's team, East Manchester, all the projects around Manchester, get involved in it, never take a penny out of the club, always put his money in and build you into one of Europe's great clubs? Or would you want the Glazers to come in and take £2 billion out of your club, don't touch your ground, your training ground's a shithole, Ronaldo left because you got the same fucking jacuzzi, and the whole place is a shit show? But apparently one club can spend as much as they want because they sell more shirts, and the other one's not allowed to spend his own money and they don't owe a penny.
So I would say this. I said this to Lee Gunner 2 days ago, and I'll say it again. I want more regulation. So I want the FFP, or whatever you want to call it in the future. I want it to stop owners like the Glazers, one, how they buy clubs.
We was the only club in the Big Six to vote for independent regulation in the Premier League.
I totally get that. And I'm just to answer your question, I want them to stop owners like the Glazers from, one, buying with debt, which they've done, to be fair, and two, running clubs into the ground, taking money out, etc. Equally, I'm very happy for owners to invest in their clubs. And I've said for many years, what the Cities and the Chelseas and the PSG spend, I've had no issue with. However, if my club had, and we might very well, it's just come out now actually while we're live from Matt Law, that there's going to be 2 bids from Saudi Arabia and 1 from Qatar for Man United. So if we end up with super rich owners from the Middle East that are investing in our club and they do a great job, but then there are big accusations of fraud or cheating or doctoring the accounts to earn even more money to buy the best players in the world, personally, I would be asking for the same. I wouldn't banter it like I'm bantering a rival, but I'd be saying, right, well, let's have our day in court. Let's investigate it. Let's share our information. If somebody wants to come and investigate my organization and my business because they think I'm doing something dodgy, I'd open the doors to the HMRC tomorrow because I have absolutely nothing to hide. And I think my point of view as a football fan is, now the accusations out there, I need to know, because the accusations, when they're read, don't always make sense. There's one here that come through, someone's put on the super chat, and these are things I just want to have answers to. And it says here that 8+Bet is a major City sponsor based in Vietnam who only have 10 employees on LinkedIn. Something definitely is fishy with the sponsorship of the club. And I think that there may be nothing wrong with some of these companies. There's another one that a journalist found who have a PO box in London. They don't offer any services. They don't sell any products. They don't have a website. They can't find any employees, but they pump millions of pounds a year into City. When journalists or investigators find that, and then football fans see it, everybody wants an explanation. And I think as a City fan, and you've already said it earlier, if it goes wrong, you get found guilty, you'll take the medicine on that. But as a City fan, I would also want answers as well, because the vast majority of your club's trophy history has been created in the last 14, 15 years, or large amounts of it have been done. Now, I would want this investigation now as a City fan, as I think the club have said, that we welcome this, because you want to be able to clear your name. And it doesn't matter, I think, if rivals still say, you still cheat, you still cheat. You'll have cleared your name in court. But there's definitely some elements that are fishy. But I think the reason they may be fishy is what you said at the beginning of this, which is you refused in the past to give out information. And it appears in these charges, you've also refused to give the Premier League information. And maybe in this, it's not really a court case, but maybe in this kind of arbitration with the independent moderator, you'll show them the documentation that proves that there's been nothing untoward.
Do you know what happened? UEFA came to him and said...
it's like, bruv, when police turn around and go, look, we want to search your car, and you refuse to, it makes the police suspicious. And I think the Premier League have said, look, if these accusations have been made, can we see X, Y, and Z documents to prove that these accusations are not true?
No, they wanted to see all emails. And Manchester City, I read it today, and Manchester City said it's not a fishing trip. You don't just get to come in and go through everything. So they said, tell us what you want, and we'll give them you. So they said they wanted emails regarding this. And they said, well, that's a leaked email that's been obtained by criminals. So you don't respond to that. If somebody come and arrested you for a crime and said, we want you to provide this evidence because this guy hacked your computer and told us you did it, would you do it? You'd say, nah, man, what are you talking about? Where have you got that from? It's all about law, and they don't want to drop themselves in the shit. They're not a small company. They're a massive company, be advised by the best lawyers in the world, and they told them, don't be giving out paperwork.
So I understand that, and I understand why they would say no, but I also get it from the other point of view. If I have an email of mine hacked and it goes viral, and suddenly the police or HMRC, whatever it is, says, "Oh, we want to look up more of your emails."
Yeah, but you're a small fish. This is a multi-billion-pound organisation with reputations of princes on the line.
But the reaction is going to be the same, but just in a larger scale. If City turn around and go, "No, we're not letting you look at it," of course the Premier League are then therefore going to be more.
No, because then you're admitting that these emails exist. If you say what you're talking about, then they've got to prove by no reasonable doubt that them emails are real. But how can they prove them unless you give them access to your emails, which you don't have to do because they was obtained by theft? The guy's going to jail. He's on trial for that.
So but he can't be going to jail for obtaining emails if they're not real, though. If they're fake emails, he's not going to jail, is he?
What do you think what do you think he's done to Manchester City as a brand by putting them emails out across the world? Do you not think he's going to get in trouble for that? Or because I could write an email about you and put it on Twitter tomorrow.
So is he going to prison for creating?
No, he's done leaks. He's done leaks about Ronaldo. He's done leaks about other clubs and stuff like that. He's in serious trouble because.
But is he in trouble for leaking real emails, like illegally, or is he in trouble for faking?
Well, that's the thing. How do you know what's a real email unless you get access to the emails? And people ain't giving access to the emails to see the genuine. That's what I'm saying. It's all.
I would clear my name if somebody today. And I know I'm not a big multinational company, but if somebody took an email and said, "Oh, look, here's Terry committing fraud or saying something racist or doing whatever," I would share my I would let an investor.
I know. We would, because we're just what you want to clear your name because you're a one-man band. But what I'm saying, when a whole organization is up and a whole paper trail of things is up, their lawyers have probably said to City, don't give them nothing. That is not how it works. Give them nothing. When we go to CAS, and if you realize, when we went to CAS, we brought the evidence to CAS. And they saw the evidence of the Etihad sponsorship being of fair value. And they saw the evidence of no payments coming from anywhere else other than the sponsors. So that proved then in CAS that them emails were bollocks.
Well, I think the thing is, though, all the payments have come from sponsors. What the accusations are is that money gets fed into the sponsors by other organizations or people and then transferred it. So the idea would be when you read the leaked emails is Etihad, they may say it's a fair price. But the idea is you've got to pay 100 million, but Etihad Airways out of their own money are only paying 8 or 9. Somebody else is backfilling the money into Etihad Airways and sending the money through. That does become hard to prove, though, because you won't even prove that through looking at Man City's bank accounts. You prove that through going through Etihad Airlines bank accounts and seeing who has pumped and funneled money in. And this is why this is an interesting one, because they're not going to have to, when it comes to kind of civil matters, you don't need to be able to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. This isn't going to court for fraud. This is whether or not the independent adjudicators think in a balance of probability whether this was done or not. And I think if you're refusing to give access, refusing to show and be kind of cooperative to prove that these emails aren't true, it really depends on how the adjudicator is going to see that. The adjudicator could see it and go, well, yeah, you can't prove City have done anything wrong. We're backing them. They could also say, well, City are being a bit shady here, so we're going to side with the Premier League. I'm very intrigued with what direction that goes in.
He backed us because when we went to CAS, we proved that it didn't happen. And the law states you don't have to give up them emails. Illegally obtained emails, you don't have to give up. So Man City did do nothing wrong, whether you like it or not. They got banned from failing to produce paperwork in their timescale, which they were advised not to do. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Man City cleared the name. We took it on the chin, the 9 million, which is fuck all to them. They took it on the chin for withholding paperwork because they thought they'd get a fairer trial at CAS, which they did. And they didn't get a transfer ban. They didn't get a 30 million. The sponsorship deal was proved to be of full value. And the sponsorship deal was proved to be paid by the sponsors and not filtered from anywhere else. So it's gone to the Premier League charges now. You've seen some of them about the grass. You've seen some of them about tour rate, a certain kickoff time, an area at the side of the pitch that won't provided for officials. There's a few charges there. So you're saying 100. There's another 35 charges there of failure to provide documentation, same as what happened at CAS. So it is what it is. They might get done for that.
And I agree with that. And there's someone here that says Terry is wrong. It's on the Premier League to prove that their guilt. And exactly. I understand that it is. That isn't what I'm looking at. The point that I think people are missing here, this isn't a criminal court. So in criminal court, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that a crime has been committed. This is civil based. So we have the Premier League have already made the charges. It's going to a independent adjudicator. The one thing about this isn't whether City are guilty or innocent. This is just based on human judgment. City refusing to cooperate could either help them because the adjudicators might say, well, we haven't been provided enough evidence to say City are guilty. It could hurt them because they may say, it feels like you're covering something up. That's not saying you're innocent or guilty. That's just juries work like that, even in criminal court cases. Like you never quite know how a jury is going to take or respond to something. So it's an interesting one.